Joe and Nishi are going to prison. Okay, technically it's juvenile detention. Point being, Joe is feeling himself perhaps a bit too much. Unfazed by the scenery, while Nishi is about to piss his pants, which is bad or a loss. Listen to this giggle.
You sound insane.
This place is basically Alcatraz. Joe has no means of escaping, which is hilarious for a boxing anime. No one would be stupid enough to do that. Nishi is already cowering in fear, begging for a request so he doesn't get lynched. Which is ironic because his previous goons literally molested Joe. But anyway, there aren't any racist organizations in Ashita no Joe, thankfully, as we see feet. Nishi is terrified and Joe decides to do parkour over everyone, shouting loudly. Unsurprisingly, these guys aren't actually sleeping, and they are the most hideous looking men I've seen in my life. We've got Luke at me with his gigantic nose and a failed skeleton hairline man, while Joe uses speech 0 to do the worst speech of all time. Look at that guy's face. Point inclined, Joe is giving his entire life story and they are not impressed by it, as it's time for a fight. As the lights go out with the silhouette approaching, as our brave heroes are sadly jumped in the dead of night, looking so ever peaceful in their sleep.
I mean, if that happened to me, I'd kill myself.
Joe imagining he's been knocked out in the ring, but no, it's Dampé in his depression era, as all the children miss Joe and dream about him dying. On to the next day in the dorm, with Joe gone and Nishi relaxing. Joe casually sleeping on about 10 different beds as he beat the shit out of 10 other people and jammed them into a wardrobe. As the guards enter to prevent a war, Joe not willing to listen to the enemy as Nishi eats a kick. I mean, he cannot catch a break, while he calls the guards like a prison snitch and informs them about trying to enforce rules while they're acting. And I'm sorry, but these guys are ridiculous, man. Skeleton Giggler laughing like an annoying little rodent, but then a presence. Music, if you will. Not a man, a god, a beast, if you will, staring down Joe. Who is it, you may ask?
Your mother.
The group are now in the back of a van heading to a farm, while Joe finds out these weird-looking men had plans to kill him. These guys are fake demons, by the way. Joe, on the other hand, has plans to escape his confinement, because now we're working, plowing the fields, I presume. So this really is a prison. Joe realizing this is not exactly the type of place you escape from besides a boat in the distance, and for once he's realized he's not actually untouchable. The giggling skeleton being smug, bragging that Joe can't escape even though he can't escape either.
Dumbass.
While the skinhead tries to intimidate Joe just to piss his pants. Like I said, these guys are fake demons.
Embarrassing.
Cutting back to the outside world with an innocent man getting attacked by children, because this man's actually predicted that Joe is going to escape. But Dampé says Joe's a hard worker, and now it's time for disgusting work. But do you hear that? Making the greatest anime entrance of all time, Toru Rikiishi riding on a bike, coming to deliver mail, throwing the card at Joe before riding over his hand in a speedy getaway. Joe disrespecting the card from Yoko because the Goonies in the pig farm are planning something. Joe and Nishi are thrown into the pens to get manure with their bare hands, because these guys are cosplaying as Romans with their forks. I mean, who do they think they are? I mean, could you imagine how disgusting this would be? Because they start stabbing these pigs. I mean, what the hell is their problem? Sending them into a frenzy while Joe tries fighting them, but Nishi plans to use them to escape, angering the pigs even more as Joe violently rides them into escape. Imagine if you see this coming after you, just when you think the escape is ready. The beast, the demon, appears like a bolt of lightning, and what happens next is so incredible, just watch. This man started fighting hogs, punching them in midair with his bare hands like nobody's business, because Toru Rikiishi is not a normal man. As Joe throws a punch easily countered, giving a threat and landing a clean left, drawing blood from the nose 3 times, using his previous training to do some serious damage. But then Rikiishi just beats the life out of him, finishing it with a brutal right, sending Joe into a mental shutdown like it's Persona 5. Joe has an amazing jab, but he's terrible at rights, which overall sent Joe to the infirmary because he didn't get his shit rocked, he got the living dog shit being out of him. So badly, man's thinking about every little punch in a daze. That is mad, while my glorious King Dampé is sending more letters. Rikiishi coming to see Joe, who is surprisingly alive and well. I mean, look at this smile. Rikiishi is a welterweight boxer who's had 13 wins in a row before putting a man in a coma for insulting him. And the same Goonies we know well tried to fight him in a street. And now Rikishi's here. Man's checking on his prey before throwing a punch to see if Joe's a loser. And he didn't react, so I guess Joe isn't a loser. The punch Rikiishi was about to hit him with. All of a sudden, Joe is escaping again, and you cannot deny that willpower running on the beach. Listen to that laugh. Rikiishi is nonchalant as ever because he thinks Joe will come back, because Joe's pride will not let him abandon revenge. Remembering that loss trying to swim, because it actually is Alcatraz, but instead of drowning he lands on a rock with an old man, realizing the notes the old man wanted to deliver are from his friends and family, asking about how Joe is, but then he gets lesson 2, a right straight. The same punch Rikiishi mocked Joe for, he is now filled with determination like it's Undertale. Back in the real world, Dampé and the children show him that Joe is ready to box, and that has Dampé gassed. Man's never been so happy in his life. life. Back in the prison, these two guards are smoking when they hear ear cutting, or slicing if you will. And if you know, you know, which you do know because we're watching a boxing anime. Because Joe is just training, pulverizing his bed in solitary confinement. As everybody knows, the best way to train is being alone. I mean, he starts juggling his notes. Look at Danpei's face, man. He's salivating. Like when I see women in ZZZ. Yes, fucking please. And the men.
For the love of God, take it off!
And I'm sorry, but what in the clown college goofy ass attire is this? Why have these children put on outfits you'd see in Roblox? Why is Where's Waldo on the left? Giving back to the prison with Nishi making a secret move, supplying Joe with food as he trains. Get yourself a boy like Nishi, honestly. You don't need anything in life as long as you've got a man like that. That's Chazza life lesson 0.1. Anyway, he sees Joe is working hard and has him in tears. All the while, the same old man that Joe met allowed the children and Danpei on the boat. Get yourself an old man like that. Joe's still remembering that PTRD, the post-traumatic Rikiishi disorder, while knowing Rikiishi won't go down to gentle jabs or whatever, as the legends are now on Alcatraz Island. Yoko entering via helicopter. Our friends can't get in, but there's a simple idea. The art of annoying people so badly, being so irritating, that they have to listen to us. Because our boys start rage baiting hard until Danpei, well, he brings me to tears. Damn, he can hit those notes, guys. Those notes are so powerful, he nearly kills the guards, and he actually killed that child. Now, I can't show what this child does next as the FBI would be at my house. So in polite terms, he mooned them and then he flashed them. But eventually they allowed in because of Yoko. Back with Joe still envisioning that face battering by Rikiishi. Unwilling to move, getting kidnapped, which is so hilarious. Being forced to watch the play, which is boring everyone into tears. Skeleton Man nearly crying because of Joe's aura. Rikiishi living in Joe's head so much he's seeing the man in his nightmares. While we see the worst acting performances of all time. Danpei is the one getting whipped. I mean, wow. And Joe's being misogynistic. I don't support this. Because Yoko has done nothing wrong, she's only ever helped. But you know who's bothered? The man himself, that theme kicking in with the craziest expressions I've seen in my life. That was literally like a YouTube reaction compilation, because Joe wants round 2, but Nishi manages to calm it down for now. After all, there's a play to be had and you don't want the children to cry. And I'm sorry, but Yoko rips his sleeves, and what in the actual fucking Christ is that expression? Is that Rikiishi? Is that the same character that murdered Joe 2 episodes ago? Is that a skinwalker that took his identity? Because keep it in your pants, bro.
For the love of God, take it off!
And please subscribe to feed my addiction to sexy women in games.
Take it off!
The magical children appearing and clapping at the play and this video. The power going out because of Joe, who's being ever so rude and terrible. And oh my god, he's back. As wide as ever, because now it really is time for round 2. A brief distraction allowing Joe to land a pulverizing combo, having Rikiishi's body in near shutdown. Eating a bitch slap as Joe starts choking it. I mean, Jesus Christ, Joe, you are the goat, but there's no need to be an asshole. Joe's hatred of Yoko and maybe women is because he believes she was looking down on him, and Joe just keeps insulting him, making it worse. As Rikishi's back, probably angrier because of the side attack, but Danpei uses that 10 charisma from Fallout to set the new stage. Joe vs Rikiishi in the boxing ring, no holds barred and no one can interfere. Joe still being insanely sexist, but for now the match has been declared. Before the aura hits, oh my god, I've just came all over my screen. The one above all, Escanor if he wasn't from a shitty pedophile anime.
Hands off my woman.
Rikiishi declaring he will put Joe down within 1 minute.
The most violent, the most diabolical!
While Danpei kidnaps Joe to watch his growth. Fast pro-level jabs and then a solid right. I mean, he's good, but Danpei does not hold back, teaching him a new move, a scream heard in the distance. The man who went down, you may ask? Joe, out cold by an unknown move, as Danpei also feels the damage from the jaw. And oh my god, it's tomorrow's Joe, me when they see the title of the anime in the anime. The punch thrown, if you can see, was the early cross counter, the technique that can bring Rikiishi down, while Joe's in the infirmary as he starts beating poor Nishi for no reason, as another scream erupts. This time it's Nishi out cold with lesson 3. Unsurprisingly, Nishi didn't want to hurt Joe. Despite it all, while Mr. Virtual Insanity jumps out a window, getting a bounty put on his head, getting punched and boom counter. As we see the result of it all, Joe has left a trail of unconscious men outside. I mean, look at this. This like 30 people. And it's becoming clear whatever Joe did made his punches more powerful. A punch so scary even Rikishi's sweating. Deciding for himself to analyze it like it's LA Noire. I mean, this man imagined the entire scenario in his head. And just when you think Rikiishi is slightly sane, he opens a ball cage to begin training. Nishi informing Joe that he literally knocked these balls out cold. Let's be honest, Rikiishi could solo your favorite verse. As the day of reckoning arrives, Rikiishi looking massive, Danpei handing his gloves, and Skeleton Man just keeps insulting to get battered. Like I said, a fake demon.
He's a pussy.
Both men exchanging insults preparing for the match. Look at that chin. But right as it's about to begin, Danpei runs in, says screw the rules don't matter, noting Joe and Rikishi's weight differences. The strategy is basically this fight isn't over until someone's out cold, or literally dead as the fight begins. Boom, bam, bosh. A 3-piece without the fries, leaving Joe looking like his ass just got violated, because that was a clothesline from hell. Joe getting up, Rikishi repeated jabs and a right once again, knocking Joe down, who gets up because he's not human. Joe charging forward, still eating a nasty combo of brutal lefts and rights, knocking him down for the 3rd time.
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
And then he gets up for the 3rd time, and it starts scaring Rikishi as Joe is gallivanting like a clown, trying to humiliate Rikishi's false declaration, entrenching him with his footwear, another mean combo sending him down for the 4th time.
Velvet Room.
But get a grip, Rikishi. Joe doesn't believe in fairy tales because he gets up again, telling the man to kill himself now for failing with that lowered guard. Finally going on the offense of quick-fire jabs and a straight left, but it's still Rikishi's game with another brutal combo ending the 1st round. Danpei delivering a bitch slap. Joe getting knocked down again because this just starts being an absolute execution. I believe at this point this is actually like the 7th knockdown overall because we didn't see some of them.
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
Joe eating more and more jabs and rights as I have a schizophrenic reaction from what the hell is going on. I think I'm going insane this time. Joe ending his sexism to goad Rikishi because this is it, the plan. Rikishi throwing the right, Joe bouncing and...
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
Stop!
Both men have landed the cross counter as they both drop down to the floor unconscious. The white mat lullaby. Oh my lord. Because that has Danpei going bonkers and everyone cannot believe it. Danpei doing a more evil laugh than Sukuna. As he gives a lesson about Japanese boxers who were defeated by a single punch. The same punch Joe did was the cross counter, a punch that can be 4 times as powerful as a regular punch. It turns out from the very beginning this had been the strategy. Rikishi himself knew this was the plan, but because of Joe's grit and willingness to keep getting up, it mentally broke the god himself into slacking, and when he did, he got brought down. I mean, this scenery has everyone in tears. Danpei's in tears, I'm crying, you're crying, your mother's crying because of you. While both men looking like they're sleeping, Danpei going into the forest like a hermit, and because of this competition, everyone is inspired. The scene of watching men slap meat across each other has turned them on, with the first 2 fighters being Aoyama, a really small looking kid, and a literal behemoth as his opponent, Arai. I mean, you've heard the story about the giant and the tortoise, right? Aoyama suddenly landing a punch, knocking the giant down.
You are not the guy.
As the fight continues, Aoyama doing a Looney Tunes combo with a body blow, somehow avoiding the giant's offense in the 1st round. The fight restarting with Aoyama getting pounded in that turtle guard, defending against the rope, seeing his opponent's tiredness, as he hits the nicest little bonk of all time. And then Arai, being the sore loser, tries a cheat, nearly getting hung in the ring for daring to do it. Aoyama is declared the victor, so good for him. While Rikishi wakes Joe up and pause for a moment.
Gay, what are you doing?
Tell me this is not something you'd see in a yaoi anime. Anyway, Rikishi accepts his loss while the beautiful boxing occurs. Despite the lack of skill, everyone is accepting the rules, even though those two are booting the legs off each other. Our episode and video ending with Joe and Rikishi watching on. See you for part 2 if you want, obviously.